Hello today and welcome back to Sky the Third. We've got Rin with us. We got a round of talking to do with everyone here at the Hermit's Garden. Let's start with Annalise, who's like freaking out over there on the side of the screen. What's going on over here? She's got the shakedowns. Annalise, what's up? Annalise? Oh, what are you doing? Well, you heard what Rin said earlier, right? How about this world changes as a result of what the people inside it want? Yeah, but what does that have to do with this? She's desperately trying to wish a stuffed toy into existence with the power of her mind. Hey, I'm trying to concentrate here. Can you be a little more quiet? Should I go with a fluffy, beady-eyed palm? Oh, maybe a nice silky bear. Or a super soft panda. There's so many wonderful choices. I can't decide which to go with. Concentrate. You can't even decide what you want. At least focus on one of them and see how that goes before getting greedy. Trust Annalise to cook up an idea like this. She might come across as silly to some, but I can't help but be impressed by her boundless optimism. She looks happy enough just daydreaming even without a gospel to make her dreams come true. Alright, what are you guys talking about? All this crap about how Phantasma's made up is giving me a headache. But it doesn't take a genius to figure out just how strong the fiends in it are getting the further in we go. We're gonna have to get a hell of a lot stronger if we want a standing a chance against them. Oops. This game has had its share of typos, to be perfectly honest. This is also the game that appears to have taken the least amount of time to localize, so which is weird because in some respects the writing is the best in this one. If the world we're in really does change as a result of our thoughts, then we're going to need more than just physical strength in the battles ahead. We're going to need mental strength too. It is an interesting concept, I must say. Who would have thought this world changes in accordance to the thoughts and desires of those within? If what Rin was saying about discovering that being one of the conditions to moving on to the sixth plane is true, then we must be reaching the end of this particular plane. Still, I never thought this place would test our reasoning and deductive skills to this extent. I'm starting to enjoy this. Pretty much the same. Pretty much the same. Alright, let's switch it up. Wrong thing.
Leave it to me.
Now let's go find Richard and Rin. I imagine Rin and Tita are probably talking, right? Never anyone there. Never ever. Maybe? Watch it happen, finally, and I get thrown off by it. There's Mueller, being by himself again. It seems like the situation we're in is even more severe than I feared. We've discovered a number of rules that govern this world, all implemented by that Lord of Phantasma. What if they created a rule that dictates we can't actually leave this world? That's a good point. Julia? It's amazing to think that this world is where people's thoughts become reality. Even after all we've seen so far, I still find myself doubting that could even be possible, but it certainly makes sense. Still, if we assume that everything that's happened so far has gone according to plan for the Lord of Phantasma, then I think it's about time we started trying to change that, There's Richard. I can't deny that there's still a part of me that refuses to move on from the past. Sooner or later, I'll have to completely put it behind me and move on. Is something up, Colonel? Nothing major, no. I was just lost in thought. In any case, I heard rumors about how intelligent young Rin was. Having spoken with her personally, however, they may have been underselling her. I almost wish I could hire her to do work at RNA research. She'd be quite the asset. Oh, cutscene. Well, what are the two of you doing here? Oh, Estelle. We were just talking about Ren. The two of you have been trying to find her ever since you left Liberl, right? Yeah, I don't feel like we got to talk to her properly back at the Axis Pillar. There's something I really want to tell her too, and I'm not going to be satisfied until I've done it. Still, she looks like she's doing okay. So I think the best thing to do for now is keep watching over her and see what happens. That might be for the best, yeah. At the end of the day, she needs to be the one who chooses what to do. Nothing good's going to come from pushing her to make that call any faster. I just hope that ending up here with us and everyone else has a positive effect on her. But all we can really do is wait and see, huh? Yes, I think you're right. We're better off just keeping watch over Ren for the time being. At the end of the day, that's pretty much the same. Personally, I'm hoping that meeting everyone here like this will end up having a positive effect on her in the long run. I'm sure it's not going to be easy to come to an understanding with Ren after all that she's been through, but you know what? If anyone can do it, it's you and Joshua, Estelle. The bond between the two of you is so strong that I'm not sure there's anything you couldn't do together. Aw, thanks, Chloe. I hope you're right. Oh, Ren? But guess what? I found a brooch exactly like the ones we bought a while back there. The jewel in the middle was red, though. Aw, you're so lucky. They were all sold out of those in the shop in Grand Cell. Aw, I really wanted a red one, too. I know. Why don't we go on a shopping trip together sometime then? We could go to somewhere really far away. You like the Eastern Quarter in Calvert, that's for sure. You could spend a whole day shopping there and never feel bored. Really? I wonder what kinds of cute accessories they'd have there. Oh yeah, let me tell you about the pendant I bought a while back. Looks like they're back to good times in no time. There are lots of big shops in the Empire too. I found a huge stuffed bear in one of them a while back. It was as big as a grown man. What? Really? I kind of want to see it now. That was in the first half of Moondor 1 that Tita said she found like a pendant, right? That was similar to the one when they like went shopping together in Grand Cell. I think that's where we read that. Alright, so we still gotta go check on Kevin, who's with at least Josette. I'm probably forgetting someone else too. We got a lot of people. We got everyone now, except for like Kevin. Kevin's still unavailable. But this menu right here, there you go. You got the full assortment of everyone. The last spot next is in would be the spot that Kevin's not taking up. Or Kevin would go at the top, at least, if you were actually here. But yep, that's everyone there. 16 playable characters in Sky the Third. And I guess the fact that Ren was going to become playable was kind of given away by the fact that she's been in every video in the title card. Hey, don't blame me. That's the cover to this game's box, okay? His condition stabilized a lot compared to before. He does still have a small fever, but it's nothing worth freaking out about. A little fever never hurt anybody. He seems to be sleeping soundly. Get rest, boy. Alright, change up the party. Put on Ren. Redo. Nope. I always screw this up. There we go. And Richard.
Understood.
I don't think I put any weapons on Ren, did I? Yeah, you may have also noticed that I've been carrying a scythe with me this entire time. Listen, there's some things I can't prevent, okay? Get off my back. Here you go. I did not think about that too hard. So there's something interesting I want to point out, and it has to do with Ren's theory and the way Richard is dressed. So he's not supposed to be in his uniform, but he is, because he has a strong attachment to it. So I've always kind of wondered, like, well, does that apply to everyone in here? Now, usually for, like, most people that are in Phantasma, like, their wardrobe isn't that, like, important to their identity, or at least, like, there'd be no reason for Phantasma to contradict what they're wearing, like, for, you know, say, Estelle or Joshua, Kevin, Ries, etc. But there are some people whose designs have changed since we last saw them. Now, some of it's really minor, like technically Joshua is not exactly the same as he was in second chapter or even first chapter. He's got like a new white jacket, but who cares? It's not a big deal. But there are some other changes. Like for one, Olivier's change. His is a bit more pronounced. But when we talked to him, and or when Estelle came out of her sealing stone, she said that he looked more princely, and he said that he still preferred the white coat, that he'd prefer to be dressed as Olivier Lindheim. And yet, that's not what Phantasma did to him the way it did Colonel Richard. So, are you supposed to read into that? I don't know. I kind of like to, personally. I like to think that even though he says he'd rather be Olivier right now, that ultimately, the reason he came dressed as he was previously, like when whatever him and Mueller were doing in Parm, that's where Mueller said they were, he was already dressed in his regular prince attire. But the reason he stayed in it is because, even if he doesn't want to admit it, he has a certain attachment to it. And I don't think it's like a sentimental attachment. I think it's more of an attachment of like responsibility. We'll get more to that a little later because we still haven't found a door for Olivier just yet. We will find one in time. So this is the door we found, which I still don't understand what is opening it for us, but whatever. It's time to do a little minigame. You know what's really convenient? The fact that Ren brought up the eastern quarter of Calvert a moment ago. But we're supposed to fight a trial, right? Okay, this just proved my theory correct. I don't think there are any trials. There are no fights indoors in New Game Plus. I think that's what's happening, except for the tutorial one with Tita at the beginning of the game. So I think that's the only time it's ever going to happen, so I guess they just don't do it in New Game Plus. Weird. Alright, the Calvert Republic, which is weird because why would this song play for the Calvert Republic? This is a Liberlian song. There's a city in this country, a place where migrants from the east have recreated their homeland down to the bright lacquered tiles. This sounds familiar. Nicknamed the Eastern Quarter, it was home to people of all kinds from all places. On the northern outskirts of that town was a little rundown bar. Doubtless it had been presentable once, but now the plaster was crumbling, and what doors were left barely fit their pitted frames. Of course, such a seedy place attracted the clientele to match. Inside were two gamblers of exceptional skill. It was only mere months ago when they had turned the underworld on its head in the match of the century. The first was Jack, a prolific blue-eyed gambler known by the moniker Victory Jack, who was finally able to put his past behind him. And the second was Hal, a petite gambler who remained doggedly by his side, despite his best attempts to shake her. Today was yet another ordinary day at that bar. However, the shriek of the door opening announced the arrival of someone who was anything but. Recognize this song? Huh? Who the hell are you? Gotta be either really dumb or really brave, and that's saying something with this joint. I'm putting my money on the former. How about you? I have no idea who's talking. Hey, get away from him, guys. I'm so sorry about them. I'm sure that wasn't the welcome you were expecting when you stepped in here. They're not bad people, really, I swear. Although, you could certainly be forgiven for thinking so looking at them. Are you a customer by chance? Here, let me show you to a table. Still, you're quite the unusual one, if you don't mind me saying so. Not many people would willingly come to a rundown bar like this, especially not in the middle of the day. I'm not saying it was a bad idea to come here, of course. Sure, it's in desperate need of renovations, and the regulars are a rowdy bunch. But there's just something, I don't know, warm about this place. Like I'm home. The food's a lot better than you'd think, too. Oh, watch your feet. I'm pretty sure that floor panel there is going to snap any day now. Well, here's your seat. Anything you like to order? You don't look like you're here for booze anyway. How about something to eat? Personally, I'd recommend the Tom Yum Goong. It's the most popular thing on our menu, and for good reason. That mix of spicy with just the right amount of sourness is perfect. Ah, I can see your mouth watering already. That's a definite yes. How about something to drink? Just water? Sorry, what was that? You're looking for Jack? Well, he's usually sleeping in the back at this time of day. Wait, did you come here to challenge him to a game or something? Sorry, I didn't even think to ask if that was what you were here for. Well, alright. I'll go and talk with him. If he's in a good mood, he might be willing. Don't get your hopes up, though. Wait here for a minute, okay? Hey, you hear that? That guy over there wants to take Jack on. Yeah, I heard. If he takes him up on it, this could get really interesting. Wouldn't be so sure about that. It ain't often Jack actually gets serious. I don't know if that guy's got what it takes to bring it out of him. Well, here's the Tom Yum Goong you ordered. Eat it while it's still hot. Oh, and as for Jack, sorry, but he says he'll pass this time. Seems like he's still hungover from drinking yesterday. Doesn't even want to get up. I'm sure that's not what you want to hear after coming all this way to challenge him, but that's Jack for you. Wait, no, I've got a great idea. How about you and I have a game first? If you beat me, I'll go bug him again. I'm sure he'd be totally interested in someone who's better than me. Surprised? I'm actually quite the gambler, you know. Name's Hal. I'm the daughter of the legendary gambler king. Not exactly a household name, but it's a pretty famous one in these kinds of circles. Fair warning, I don't plan on holding back one bit. If we're doing this, we're going all out. Plus, if I win, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Are you good with that? I'll take that as a yes. Well, let's move to a more suitable table, shall we? As for the game, how does blackjack sound? Ha ha ha! We're playing blackjack with Hal. So this would be awkward if you didn't read Gambler Jack. If you didn't, maybe you should go do that. Either for yourself or watch the video. This is also where I stole the thumbnail out of. I had help though. Shout out to Ribos5 who runs the Falcom Discord as well as the subreddit for plucking that out of the source files for me. Let's do this. I think I know how to play blackjack. This is also presumably really similar to like the mini games in second chapter, which we never did, but you could totally gamble at the Laventar over in Rouen. Are you ready? Then let's get started. Oh, got myself 2, and all right, we're gonna hit. Crap, 16 is garbage. I'll stand. Yeah, I'm good with it. Lost. All right, next round. Jack and a 9. Let's stand. Bust. Take that, Hal. So this door also has multiple difficulties to it. So she's telling the truth that if we beat Hal, then you get to play Jack. And you might get to play Jack at blackjack and then maybe him at poker. I want to say there are like 3 rounds to this. So because you don't get to beat Jack unless you win and do the other difficulties, we'll definitely be doing multiple difficulties for this door. I just don't know if we're going to do it right away. Come on, 10. Hell yeah. Killing it. So what, 1 more? This is a best of 7, right? 15, I'll hit. 16, I lost on 16 last time, so let's risk it. Oh well. Nine. Let's hit. 18. That'll have to do. 16, 26. Haha. I guess that's good enough. Well, that's that. You won, stranger. Nice work. That didn't take too long, so let's meet Jack. I think, anyway. Wow, who'd have thought? You're actually really good. Alright, a deal's a deal. I'll go and talk to Jack again. I hope our first game with him is blackjack. Wow, he actually managed to beat her? Looks that way. Maybe we'll get to see something interesting after all. Ugh, man, I'm tired. Huh? There's a new face. So what? That the guy who beat Hal? Ugh, my head's throbbing like a bitch. What? There goes the 4. See, told you. I knew he'd be the one to break it. That you did. Poor guy. It's kind of crazy how amazingly lucky at gambling, yet amazingly unlucky at everything else. Actually, it's probably less unlucky and more him always being out of it. Hey, I heard that, you. I'll take you on any time you want. That's enough, you two. If you want to fight, you can take it outside. The last thing we need is this place ending up any more run down than it already is. Oh, and on that note, you're fixing that broken floorboard yourself, Jack. That's on you. Why do I have to do it? Ugh, fine. Ugh, this sucks. Never thought I'd see Jack get so wrapped up around somebody's finger. You're telling me. Anyway, sorry for the wait. Here's Jack. So, I was right then. This is the guy who wants to take me on. Sure is. Really? He doesn't look like he's gonna put up much of a fight to me. Never let your guard down, or you could find yourself stumbling into something unexpected. Like, you know, the floorboard again. Anyway, I'm Jack. Think you already know that, though. And before we do any gambling, I need a drink. Give me a whiskey, Hal, on the rocks. What was that you said earlier about a hangover again? Oh, I got rid of that just now. Come on, we haven't got all day. You are unbelievable. Did Hal catch your eye? Girl's about as sexy as a lamppost right now, but she's got potential. Couldn't tell you what made her want to work in a shithole like this, but here she is. Anyway, forget her for now. Let's talk about you, yeah? You're one brave guy to come in here all on your own, and out of the blue. I doubt many guys would have the guts to do that. Or girls, for that matter. Nice to see you two are hitting it off. Here's your drink, Jack. Thanks. Huh? You hanging around? I figured you'd get back to work. As if I could work knowing there's an exciting match going on over here. The owner's giving me the okay too, so I'm gonna park my butt right here until you're done. With an owner like that, it's no wonder this place is the way it is. Well, whatever. Let's get this over with. Here we go. You're the challenger, so I'm gonna be the one picking the game we play. And I'm gonna go with the one I'm best at. Poker. Maybe there are only 2 rounds to this, but let's do it. I'm also not good at poker, and maybe I should have read the rules. Let's get this thing over with. May the best man win, I guess. I actually just noticed that our cards are from the Laventar, which makes no sense. Unless, like, the Laventar is a chain, and there's also a Laventar in the Eastern Quarter. That would be something. Maybe, you never know. Alright, let's see here. We got a ace, queen, and king on the table. So if I know my poker, I don't. Thought I could swap out a set number. I was gonna get rid of 2. Well, I got a pair of 8s, which is not great. It's fine for now. And no. Apparently triangle is fold. I should have read the fucking rules. Oh well. Three of a kind. This might take some tries. So let's see here. You can also raise. Let's change all three. All right, we got a pair of jacks. Draw. He had a jack too, darn it. I am so bad at this fucking game. Let's go with my pair here, but that's all we got. Yeah, his pair's the same. We both had a pair of fours. Yep, no good happening here. He just beat me with a pair of twos? Come on. In that case, I've got nothing. I mean, other than the pair that are on the board. Ugh. Three of a kind. Alright, I have two pairs. I got a 5, the 8. Good thing I had two pair too, because he had two aces. Pair of jacks, pair of kings, pair of twos. So we have three pairs, right? I guess it only counts two. Oh wait, no, we only had one jack. I'm so stupid. Ah, he pulled off his straight. That's what I was going for. Well, I wanted the royal flush. I was an ace away from it. Eat this straight. Oh, that gets me back to almost even. Well, he beat me. Finally. It went on for a while, but I just raised and he got me on that three of a kind. With aces, no less, too. Damn jack. But you get the gist of the idea. Hal wasn't blowing smoke, was she? After hearing you beat her, I figured you might give me a run for my money, but no such luck. Hey, come on. I wasn't blowing smoke at all. I don't think he beat me by pure chance. Doesn't really matter, Hal. My interest's gone, I'm afraid. By all means, come back again, but make sure you do a whole lot better than that if you do. Try again without lowering difficulty. Oh, you can actually lower the difficulty, but for now we'll leave. We can always come back, or I could do it off camera. You've got the idea of it. There's no big revelation to be had here. It's just playing card games with Jack and Hal. Now the big question is it real? Is it actually real, or is it a figment of your imagination? Also, how do you explain that part of Phantasma? That, like, you can go into a door and play cards with people you've never met. Although, I guess theoretically, we've read about them. I don't know. I don't know how you explain that one. Sundor 4 Part 2. Yeah, Destiny card is what did it. In Coward's Eastern Quarter, an unforgettable poker game is about to begin. And we still don't have anything to go back to Sundor 3. And I haven't tried fishing more. See, we found Sardor 7. And there's also the matter of, let's see, Moondoors. Right, we've skipped out on Moondor 3 for now. And finally, we have, you notice that here on Sardor 5, there's an exclamation point? That's the door I lost to Colonel Richard in as Annalise. Alright, so what do we want to do? We have options here. Might think about it. Give me 1 second here to look something up. Alright, let's go to Star Door number 7, actually. Because I don't think it's what I was thinking it was. It's something else entirely. However, what I said is still kind of true, that this is not a door like the others we've encountered. Or rather, it's most like the second door. It's most like the salt pail one. Oh no, this is the one that said there was going to be a trial, right? So let's see. Are we going to fight? Yeah or nah? We are going to fight. Cool. So this should be a unique enemy. I need to stop hitting turbo mode. Star Guardian. Guardian of a star door. Heals those who attack it. But when its HP starts to get low. And finally, the Mischief. Evil spirit that causes nothing but trouble and petrifies. Hard to hit and can split itself. I didn't do a whole lot of damage, but we did inflict some statuses. Right, so Sakura Morning Moon is single. They're both single, both that and Afterglow Smasher. In that case, let's go with... nothing else is close enough. Oh, we should use something. Alright, Rin. Calamity Throw 2. Alright, they're gonna get to move here. Yeah, bunch up together. That'll make my life a bit easier as a cell here. Look at this big-ass hurricane that she's learned how to do. Oh, why is this moving with the right stick? That's new to this game. Sky the Third has like some weird control problems that first and second chapter don't have. I missed 2 of them. That's bullshit. We took care of the Guardian though. Alright, back to this. There we go. Do it again. Why not? Supreme Hurricane. Still missed one of them. Alright, Ries. Let's go after this one. Oh, not close enough for that, huh? That was a death blow. Nice. So I had just read what's in this door, and I don't remember it very well. Only vaguely. I read what the topic was. Orbments. So at the top is the first chapter Orbment, or rather like the one underneath it, and the other one is the second chapter Orbment. Orbments are devices that use the orbal energy contained within Septium to cause a variety of useful effects. It has only been a little over half a century since they were first invented, but even in such a short time, they have already revolutionized the world as we know it. From daily necessities such as lighting and heating, to tanks and other similar weapons used to defend our nations, Orbments are used in just about every facet of our lives. In fact, it's now hard to imagine life without them. So much of what we take for granted in life now involves them in some way. And it is to proliferate and advance the development of these Orbments that we exist. We, the Epstein Foundation. So we're learning about the Epstein Foundation stationed in Le Mans. Our foundation was first established in year 1155 of the Septian calendar, the year after Professor Epstein's passing, and was created by his brilliant-minded disciples in order to honor his wishes. The foundation is based in his home state of Le Mans, where it remains in operation to this day. It was rather limited in size in the beginning, and its attempts to spread orbital technology was initially met with little success. Sensing that the professor's dream would never be realized at the rate that they were going, 3 key researchers left Le Mans to try and spread the seeds of orbital technology across the continent themselves. One of these was Professor G. Schmidt, the professor who had gained a fine reputation for his skill in the field of mechanical engineering, went around and visited corporations in various nations to persuade them of the benefits of orbits. The second was Professor L. Hamilton. Mindful of the technological gap between regions, he long believed it was rural and remote areas that needed orbit technology more than any other. As such, he enlisted the help of the Bracer Guild, which already had a close relationship with the Foundation, and formed a mission with the intent of promoting and spreading the technology where applicable. The professor himself also toured the regions with the aim of spreading public awareness and laying foundations for others to build on in the future. The third was Professor A. Russell, now known far and wide as the father of the Orbital Revolution. Professor Russell returned to his home nation of Liberl and continued to work tirelessly to advance orbit technology there, and within a year of returning, he had set up the Zeiss Engineering Factory, now known as Zeiss Central Factory, and created the first orbit to be made outside of Le Mans State. 3 years later, the reigning king of Liberl at the time, Edgar III, visited the factory to inspect it, and he decided to donate a large amount of money to further its research. With His Majesty's endorsement, orbits began to spread like wildfire throughout the kingdom, bringing such prosperity that the people of other nations were filled with envy. Up until then, most people didn't see orbits in a particularly positive light, but their success in Liberl changed those impressions virtually overnight. One nation after another began to reach out to our foundation to share orbit technology, and both our foundation's financial and social standing became that much more secure. In the eyes of the world, the Orbital Revolution was a sudden, far-reaching transformation. But it was only because of years of reaching out to people in diligent, largely unnoticed research that it was able to happen at all. That's like impossible to read. The text is at such a low resolution. You got about the Epstein Foundation. I assume that is actually the Epstein Foundation on the left, the top left. About the Epstein Foundation, orbits. Then you got text with orbits. I can actually read a little bit of on the right-hand side, the bottom half of the page, the left-hand box. It says prototype of orbit, and in hyphens it says mystery of artifact. I can read at least a couple of the lines. It is thought something of the Zemurian civilization, I assume it's referring to the ancient one, that proposes in artifact something something. I assume that eventually this text is becomes a little unintelligible, because I doubt Xseed wrote this. I imagine Falcom did, which means that the English might not be very reliable. But it does mention the Septarians in it. It is assumed that it names something treasure the Septarian of 7. Given form empty something blank. I don't know, I can't read too much of it, but hopefully the text here will explain a bit more. The Foundation's activities center around the following 3 guiding principles. 1. Carrying out fundamental research on orbits. 2. Spreading orbital technology and informing the public of its benefits. 3. Contributing to world peace through technology. Now then, let's discuss each of these 3 guiding principles in more depth. Number 1. Carrying out fundamental research on orbits. The Foundation's most important mission is, naturally, the improvement and development of orbital technology. The fundamental principles behind how orbits work need no improvement as such, but their architectures, their internal structures, have been improved upon countless times in the past, will surely continue to be perfected by the curious minds as the years go on. Orbit's architecture concerns the mechanical parts inside them, such as the cogs and screws, and there is still plenty of room for change as this new technology develops. These improvements can reap great rewards, but the research necessary to make them is known to be as lengthy as it is expensive. As a result, companies who prioritize profit over all else are less inclined to pursue them. That makes our Foundation's research all the more important from a social perspective. Number 2. Spreading orbital technology and informing the public of its benefits. Two other important goals of the Foundation are to spread orbital technology as widely as possible and to educate the public on the correct way to use it. While orbits have become part of the daily lives of most who live in advanced nations and populated urban areas, the reality in remote and mountainous regions is very different. To counter this, we have long worked to send missions of engineers and bracers to these regions to try and better the standard of living for these people, and will continue to do so. We also continue to work on other ways to spread awareness of orbital technology, such as working closely with the Septian Church to have it added to the curriculum of Sunday school classes. Number 3. Contributing to world peace through technology. It is to pursue this noble yet extremely difficult goal that the Foundation has had a close relationship with the Bracer Guild ever since its initial founding. The Guild was established as an international peacekeeping organization and can mediate on conflicts between nations from a neutral point of view, making it essential to the stability of our world as it stands. The Epstein Foundation continues to back them up fully in their cause, both with financial aid and using the fact that Le Mans State is the only place where tactical orbits are produced to provide them with equipment. Just as well, this relationship also provides ideal feedback towards tweaking the quality of tactical orbits as they are used in combat too. Every machine and every invention goes through a long, grueling process behind the scenes before eventually reaching its finished, refined form, and tactical orbits are no exception. Then, in S1190, our Foundation unveiled the Orbital Network project, which will be implemented in partnership with ZCF. Said project aims to join all of Zemuria together with a single united communications network, but our hope is that it will do much more than that. Our hope is that it will help to realize a peaceful world through communication. Sadly, Orbit's relationship with peace as a concept has become somewhat complicated. Are they aiding in its realization, or are they doing the exact opposite? Professor Epstein expressed his hopes that their ability to realize the limitless looping of energy would be able to bring lasting peace to the world. Instead, recent years have thoroughly betrayed those hopes, and the post-revolution world has been a chaotic one indeed. The conflict between Liberl and Erebonia, for one, made significant use of orbital weaponry, airships included. It seems beyond a doubt that orbital weaponry will continue to become more and more advanced, making war an even more tragic event than ever. In the face of all of this, how should we go about trying to create a peaceful world? We believe the best way to do this is to rely on the power of communication, and a means to do so with people of different nationalities and races. If these people can more easily interact and more easily deepen their understanding of one another, perhaps that will allow us to create the world we all so dearly desire. In the end, one thing is for certain: our challenges to try and realize Professor Epstein's ideals are only just beginning. Side story: the Epstein Foundation finished. That's all you get. So now I realize why I kind of skimmed over that door, or not skimmed, but didn't remember it as well. For one, it's pretty short, and two, there's nothing in there that's like too crazy, like in terms of revelations. The only place we've really ever heard about the Epstein Foundation in this entire game, I think, is in the orbital calculator inside the Capel. Now it's possible that someone mentions it every now and then. Maybe it has shown up in like main scenario conversations, it's possible. But I would guess that for the most part, it's probably only been in like optional text. But yes, the Epstein Foundation is what was created after the passing of Professor C. Epstein, which was a long time ago, which was about 50 years ago, shortly after the discovery of orbital technology. And I think in my first chapter playthrough, the replay of it that's up now, at one point I did talk a little bit about Epstein, and I didn't say much. I talked about the fact that there's not much to talk about, because his name is brought up just in the context that we just saw, which is he's the guy who discovered orbital technology, or as we now know it, quote unquote, rediscovered orbital technology, given that we know that the technology that the ancient civilization had was also orbital based in some form or fashion. but he discovered orbital technology as we know it now, built, orbits and whatnot. And then he just died, like, suddenly. And is there anything to that? I have no idea. I couldn't tell you because we don't know. This is why if the fourth arc of the Trail series turns out to be Lamon, we might learn something about that if we go to Lamon instead of Calvard, or if we go to Calvard and then Lamon. If there ends up being games in Lamon proper, we might learn more about the early days of the Orbital Revolution. We might get to walk inside the Epstein Foundation proper. We might get to learn all kinds of cool new things about that time period. But it hasn't happened yet. And even if it had, I wouldn't tell you at this point in the series anyway. But it is interesting because the thing about the Trail series is that it does a lot of good for me as I don't know what to call it, as a gamer, as a player, whatever. I love the series. It's very different and interesting, and one of the reasons I love it is because of how ambitious it is. The fact that Falcom's like, no, we're gonna tell this crazy elaborate RPG story that's gonna take us 30 years or however fucking long it's gonna end up being. It's super ambitious and different, and no one else is trying anything like it, and that's part of the reason why I really love it. But part of the problem is that you can't always tell the future, and like I have no idea what might happen. And one of the things is that a negative impact that the Trail series has had on me is that it's made me a less trusting person. So I've played so many of these games, and I've played them time and again, multiple times now, partially because of what we're doing right here with doing the videos for the channel and whatnot, that I have become so like not trusting of anything that happens or people or things I read in these games. So the fact that like Epstein dies shortly after discovering orbital technology, that immediately like put on the tinfoil hat of like, is it a conspiracy? Was he killed? Did the Septian Church do something? Like, who knows? Who knows? Maybe there is something to it. Maybe there's something to the fact that the guy who just discovers orbital technology up and dies 2 years later. Or maybe not. Maybe he was just like super old. I don't think it's ever stated how old he was at the time. What if he was like 80 years old or something and he just died naturally? Well, the one thing that's also in there is the mention of his disciples. We know one of them. We've met him. It's our buddy Albert Russell. Yeah, and as we learned back in first chapter, we learned that he was one of those people. He came back to Liberl, tried to, convince everyone like, oh, check out this orbital technology thing. Didn't go so well at first. Took a little while. Took like a year or two. Helped build the pump down in in Elmo Village. Remember hearing about that? That played a role. Then he finally got the Zeiss Clockmakers Union or whatever to be like, okay, there's something to this. They finally started working on orbits. Edgar III, which is the former king, which maybe was Alicia's father? Maybe? He sees it. He's like, okay, we're going to pour a bunch of money into this. And then Liberl becomes orbitally advanced. And presumably the same starts happening around other places like Erebonia and Calvard and other smaller states and countries. We learned the name of two of those other people in there, L. Hamilton and G. Schmidt. So the Trail series follows like this really typical pattern of like introducing roles and then filling those roles out over time. So for example, we talked about the S-rank bracer role. We know that there are 4 of them, and that Cassius was the first one we met. We haven't met the other 3, so we're going to meet them someday, so that gives you something to look forward to. We've met enforcers of Ouroboros. We've met, like a handful of them. Bryn, we met Louvet, Luciola, Blueblanc, Walter, Campanella. But they had numbers, like, 0, 6, 10, what's Walter's number? 7, I can't remember. Louvet was 2, Joshua used to be 13, Ren's 15. And they seem to follow, like, the tarot deck. But that's a lot of numbers in between. Are those numbers filled by people who are currently active? Where are they? Where are the other enforcers? There's something else for you to look forward to. We now know about the Dominions, that there are 12 of them, and we only know 1. Where are the other 11? Oh, well, we know 2, We know Ein and Kevin. So, where are the other 10? And now you have these people, these researchers, the disciples of Epstein. We've met Russell. When are we going to meet G. Schmidt and L. Hamilton? Well, we'll have to look forward to that. I may or may not know a thing or two about one of them. Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. But that's pretty much it. We're going to get to learn a little bit more about the Epstein Foundation in the not too distant future. But the mysteries about whether or not there's anything more insidious, like under the surface, in terms of the Epstein Foundation's history, about C. Epstein himself, who knows? Maybe we can answer those questions someday in the far off future. Or maybe there's nothing there at all, and I'm just a crazy person. That's also very possible. Okay, we got... How much do we got to do now? Not counting returning to doors to fill things out, like Star Door 5, or even finishing out the mini-games inside the Sun Doors. Oh yeah, I spoke a little bit about that, right? About like whether or not Jack and Hal are real. Who knows? Who knows? That's a question that people have been asking for a long time. When this video's going out, people have been asking that question for 13 years or something like that. Like 12 years. I had to do the math in my head, right? Yeah, 12 years from 2007 to 2019. So that's when second chapter came out, was 2007. And when the first version of Gambler Jack was published. So whether or not we'll ever get to step foot in the eastern quarter of Calvert, and we'll ever walk into a bar and ever meet the real Jack and Hal or whoever they're based on, who knows? Very possible. Wouldn't shock me. I mean, given that we know how reading Carnelia turned out, it seems that there might be something to this. This is why in like first and second chapter, I'm like, read the fucking books. Read the books! Because the books have important stuff. Okay. So, doors left. I cannot believe that Star Door 8 is not on this plane. It's making me so upset. It is making me so upset. And also, Star Door 7, the one we just did, turned out to be something other than what I was thinking about. There's another door like this, like the Salt Pail one and like this Epstein one, where it's not based on a character and it just has story information, world information. There's another one like it somewhere in the final, 8 Star Doors? We gotta find that one. That one's important too. That one's gonna answer a really old question, one of the first questions in this series. Let's head... I don't know. Is it a good time? Alright, give me a minute here. I need to think of a plan of attack. Alright, let's go to the end of the 5th plane. Oh, did I not check? Oh no, I guess not. I guess there's more to go than we thought. I thought this would be the end at the end of the Umbral Road, but it's not. There must be something more to do here. It takes us back to the Luminous Labyrinth. Alright, that's perfect. Let's continue to explore this then. I thought about going to do, like, maybe Chloe's Moon Door, but I've decided that's not a good idea. I want to find Star Door 8, which might actually be on this plane now that there's more to do here. So maybe we're about to run across it. Very possible. I felt like it was in a location like this, like it was on like a dungeon road somewhere. Also, the Star Door I'm thinking of that's very similar to Star Door 2, Salt Pail, and the one we just did, Star Door 7. It's not for a while. It's one of the last ones, actually. And there are other doors that are like these as well, that are very... There it is. There it frickin' is. There are other doors that are like these that have like just story and world building bits. Bring to me the playful minstrel and his closest ally against the beast they seek to overcome. Only then shall the door open. So this would be Olivier and Mueller. Now this door, as well as Chloe's Moon Door number 3, they are... well, maybe they're not married, maybe they're not that closely tied to the hip, but they do go well together, and there's a reason why I've held off on Chloe's Moon Door. So let's go back to the base area. Let's go get that girl. Whoops. Chloe, where are you? Get over here. And let's go and find... Damn it, every time, wrong one. Let's go and find her moon door. I don't even remember where the heck it was. Oh, it was on, like, what, the Silver Road, maybe? Was it Silver Road? Yeah. Bring to me the darling of pure white radiance and proof of her scholarship. Only then shall the door open. No. Let's leave that for next time. But I'll preview it a little bit. This moon door will tell of... Maybe I already said it. I probably did. Whoops. But I'll repeat it. This door tells the story of Chloe's early days at Genis Royal Academy. In fact, just arriving there. So her very first year, her very first time as a student, and becoming Chloe Renz in disguise instead of being Claudia von Osles. And I said at one point that the Trails of the Sky, the third playthrough, despite the fact that, yeah, we're rehashing a bit, we're tying up loose ends, and there's some asset reuse going on with like the major cities still finding their way into Phantasma and whatnot. But that doesn't mean that there isn't important information here. I built up that some of the doors are crazy important. I said some of them are some of the very best things in the entire franchise. I also said that just because we're rehashing things and, you know, tying up loose ends, it doesn't mean we're not going to meet new faces. We met Ries for one. We finally met Erica and Dan Russell. But there are other new people to meet. And there are going to be new people inside of this door. And one of them's going to get on my nerves. So when we pick up next time, we go back in the past. We go back a couple of years to the early days of Genis Royal Academy for Chloe. And we meet some of her old seniors back in the day. See you guys in the next one.